12, NBC 26 at 11.
Another 15-year-old gunned down and killed in Augusta. We're talking to a local nonprofit doing the hard work of trying to solve a growing problem.
But we begin tonight with a check of the weather and First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale talking about a really unusual storm that just seemed to pop up right on top of us earlier tonight.
Yeah, beautiful pictures that people sent in. A lot of viewers caught this storm because it was so unique, Riley.
It was, guys. We had incredible views. Even more. There is a marginal flood risk on Saturday. We'll have much more of that coming up in just about 10 minutes.
Riley, thanks. We are following the story of gun violence in our area, finding more teenagers and young people at the center of it. Just last night, a 15-year-old lost his life after a shooting on Aiken Street in Richmond County. But since March of this year, 3 other young victims have lost their lives to gun violence.
A local nonprofit is making it their purpose to not only stop the violence, but make an impact on kids and teens in our area. City Hood spoke with the Purpose Center about its mission. So, Sydney, tell us about their goals.
The whole goal of the Purpose Center is to target the audience of younger people from areas that tend to get overlooked. And the idea is to let them know that there is a place and a purpose for them in this world. There's a certain purpose to this place.
Everybody on this wall, though you may not believe what they believe, you may not live how they live, every single one of them had a gift.
And every single person in here has a gift.
It's our job to inspire them to use their gift to help other people find their purpose.
Finding purpose in life didn't come easy for Unique McKee.
What changed my life is someone coming in, empowering me, and helping me to remember that my past does not define my future.
That's the idea here, not letting a painful past get in the way of a better future.
These kids need to understand that their pain has a purpose. They need to understand that their lives have value. They need to understand that where you come from does not have to dictate and determine where you're going.
The Purpose Center's doors are open to anyone, but the focus is on younger people.
I see the child that is crying every day, but they're not crying because they fell and hurt their knee. They're crying because they're going through something emotionally and inside.
That's where people like Camilla Freeman come in to help.
They aren't always what we see them in the physical eye. They are so much more inside, but sometimes the odds that are put up against them in this generation, especially today, that's what they know.
The center is gearing up to welcome 30 kids back for after-school programming, teaching them to find purpose in pain.
The issues are plethora, and that is why we need our community support.
Community support can come from donations, volunteering, or just simply showing up. The center is actually preparing for their after-school programming with a back-to-school bash. They'll have open registration for the program, school supplies, and it's all free. It's July 28th, starting at 6:30.
Some really important work they are doing at the Purpose Center.
They have their work cut out for them, for sure. Now back to that deadly shooting we told you about. They claimed the life of a 15-year-old Jabari Webb.
Jabari was shot late last night on Aiken Street in Richmond County. He was taken to the hospital where he died from his injuries.
Audrey Dick-Herber's been speaking with those who were close to him.
It's a tragedy that's affected too many families.
He been there through everything that I was going through.
At least 3 local 15-year-olds have died due to gun violence in the last year. One of them is Jabari Webb.
It really hurt me because he was such a good person. He just wanted a happy life. He wanted better for everybody.
Family friends say he left their house last night and was supposed to come back. But instead, his girlfriend got a phone call with terrible news.
That's when they told me that he had got shot. He was at the hospital. So I went to the hospital. When I went to the hospital, they said he was gone.
Gone. Just before his 16th birthday.
His birthday is July 25th.
And she says people describe him as a loving person.
He's such a sweet person. Sweet. He made everybody laugh, happy. He just wanted a better life.
Through this difficult time, she still has one piece of him to hold on to. A teddy bear with a recording of his voice.
I love you, baby.
Something she'll be holding close in the days and weeks ahead. Audrey Dick-Herber, on your side.
That is a piece of him that she will continue to hold on to.
It breaks your heart. I mean, these kids are kids.
And
15
having to
years old.
learn tough lessons.
Shouldn't be dealing
Shouldn't be
with
going through this. And another shooting today. This one at the Smart Grocery Store over on Riceboro Road. That sent someone to the hospital. It happened around 11:30 this morning. Richmond County deputies say the injuries there do not appear to be life-threatening. No word tonight on any suspects, but we will keep you updated as soon as we learn more about that one.
The Aiken Department of Public Safety is asking for your help to find this missing teen, Aiden Canister, last seen Wednesday morning near Cardinal Drive. He was wearing a red Metro Diner shirt, black shorts, and camouflage Crocs. Aiden's considered to be endangered and does have health issues, so if you see him, call the Aiken Department of Public Safety.
Homelessness comes in different forms. Some people have nowhere to turn after prison, but one man who knows that feeling all too well is busy helping former inmates get back on their feet. Devarian Blunt used to be homeless himself.
We're out here trying to make sure that people have what they need to be able to move forward without being caught off balance of not knowing how they're going to accomplish something because they don't know about the resources, or either not having the basic things they need to actually get the resources.
Blunt says some former inmates get out only to struggle and decide it's just easier being locked up. He's trying to break that cycle. If you want to know more, we have a link to the Blunt Beginnings on our website. Well, after being on the run for months, South Carolina's convicted killer Jared Price has been captured. SLED confirming Price was captured in New York Wednesday morning. The 77-day search for Price started after the state Supreme Court overturned an order that granted his release from prison 16 years early. He was convicted in 2003 of killing former USC and UNC football player Carl Smalls Jr. and was set to spend the next 35 years in prison. Here's what Carl's parents had to say after the capture.
I want him punished. I don't know. I know it's got to be laws for being a fugitive. So we're excited and we're thankful that he's back in custody. But I will be even more happy once he's back in front of a judge and he's been punished for being gone for 77 days.
Price will have to go before a magistrate judge in New York before returning to South Carolina. The Department of Corrections director says they'll take precautions to ensure his safety, and they plan to keep him in a high-security unit where his movement will be restricted.
The DOJ has launched an investigation.
Well, after being on the run for months, South Carolina's convicted killer Jared Price has been captured. SLED confirming Price was captured in New York Wednesday morning. The 77-day search for Price started after the state Supreme Court overturned an order that granted his release from prison 16 years early. He was convicted in 2003 of killing former USC and UNC football player Carl Smalls Jr. and was set to spend the next 35 years in prison. Here's what Carl's parents had to say after the capture.
I want him punished. I don't know. I know it's got to be laws for being a fugitive. So we're excited and we're thankful that he's back in custody. But I will be even more happy once he's back in front of a judge and he's been punished for being gone for 77 days.
Price will have to go before a magistrate judge in New York before returning to South Carolina. The Department of Corrections director says they'll take precautions to ensure his safety, and they plan to keep him in a high-security unit where his movement will be restricted.
The DOJ has launched an investigation into conditions at Fulton County Jail. The investigation will look at living conditions, access to medical and mental health care, use of force, and the structure of the jail, along with looking into whether Fulton County and the Sheriff's Office discriminate against people with psychiatric disabilities. And in South Carolina, consequences for people who drink and drive are now tougher than they were just a few weeks ago. For years, advocates and families of DUI victims have been calling for South Carolina. And in South Carolina, consequences for people who drink and drive are now tougher than they were just a few weeks ago. For years, advocates and families of DUI victims have been calling for South Carolina to toughen up its DUI law with a new device.
I can't bring my daughter back. My daughter's gone. She's nothing but ashes in an urn and the memories we have. She's gone. But I've been doing this because I want to make sure that other people don't have to go through this.
The new law requires people convicted of DUI to temporarily use an ignition interlock device. Drivers have to blow into the device and their car won't start if they're intoxicated. Before this, drivers could be required to use the device if they had multiple DUI convictions.
A Wednesday night crash on Peach Orchard Road has claimed a life. It happened around 9:40 last night at Circular Drive in Augusta. 71-year-old Betty Johnson died this morning from her injuries. She was a passenger in a car turning onto Circular Drive when their car was hit. No word yet on whether either driver will face charges in that.
Tonight, 4 high school students and a coach are recovering after a bus crash in Orangeburg County. The South Carolina Highway Patrol says it happened on Bonner Avenue around 1 in the afternoon. Troopers say the coach and the students were on their way to a football camp at SC State. Thankfully, everyone's injuries were minor. At the time, though, it's still not clear who's at fault for that crash. First Lady Jill Biden will be heading to Augusta as part of the Biden-Harris administration's Investing in America tour. The First Lady will meet with local leaders to talk about ways to expand pathways to good-paying jobs in fields like advanced manufacturing. She's set to arrive at Augusta Regional Airport at 12:30.
Tomorrow is the 18th annual of the Heat even more. Riley, thank you. Looks like the writers are going to be getting some company on the picket line. 65,000 actors walking off the set and heading to their own picket line when we come back.
But first, as we had to break a live look at Pittsburgh and your winning lottery numbers.
Some nervous moments today in South Texas. A pipeline there ruptured, triggering a huge fire at a private oil field. Here, have a look at this. People who live in the area say they felt the explosion and they saw the flames across the bay. The company says the fire started at a valve site, but they don't know what caused the pipeline itself to break. The fire was burning ethylene and propylene, and the company decided the safest thing to do was just to let those gases burn themselves out, which took about 4 hours, but just some amazing flames there on the ground. Members of the Screen Actors Guild voted to go on strike tomorrow after failing to reach a deal with major studios.
The contentious dispute that will shut down many productions, big and small, and centers on money and technology.
Hollywood actors join writers on the picket line Friday in a dispute focusing on the future of the entertainment business.
Streaming and AI and digital is so prevalent in the industry, it has disemboweled the industry that we once knew.
At the heart of the impasse is actors' income from streaming entertainment and safeguards amid the increasing role artificial intelligence is playing in movies and TV.
We're talking about the potential for them to be able to use our name, our likeness, our movements, our voice for future projects without our consent.
SAG-AFTRA also says actors are missing out on millions in residuals.
A lot of actors have to have second or third or even fourth jobs in order to just make a decent living.
The walkout affects the union's 65,000 actors from TV and film productions who will not be able to promote their films. In London Thursday, Deadline Hollywood reports some of the cast of Oppenheimer left the premiere as the union decided to go on strike.
There's an existential threat to, the industry that needs to be addressed.
The group representing studios and streaming services said in a statement Thursday, "We are deeply disappointed that SAG-AFTRA has decided to walk away from negotiations. This is the union's choice, not ours," adding the move will deepen the financial hardship for thousands who depend on the industry. Tom Waite, CBS News, Los Angeles.
It's the first time actors and screenwriters have gone on strike together since 1960, when the Actors Guild president was Ronald Reagan.
Tonight, the FTC is